Hello everyone, how's it going? Hope everyone's having a good day. First thing we're going to talk about is I was able to get a few more dollar coins. These two are presidentials, not too interested in them, but this one I am a little interested in. 2000 Philadelphia, because there could be the Wounded Eagle die chip, scratch, error, whatever it is. But unfortunately, this one is not it. This would have been a nice one to get that way, because it's not really heavily circulated. So, I think there's about 100 of them known to exist somewhere around that neighborhood. So it is something that would possibly have some value and sell for a decent price, quite a bit more than $1. I was looking through some of my stuff and found these two things. Been a little while since I seen them. Almost forgot that I had them. There's some kind of religious medal. They're kind of neat, but I don't think they're worth as much as I paid for them. Now, you might have noticed a little pile of silver here. This is all stuff I bought this week, Monday and today, actually this morning. And when I went and bought the last stuff, this, because of how high silver was at the time I bought it, and it came with 3 Standing Liberty quarters. These other ones I bought on Monday. Those are, it doesn't matter which ones are which, but anyway, Monday, this stuff was worth about 99 cents per gram. Today, because of the price of silver, it's worth $1.04 roughly, or it was at the time I bought it. Now, I do have this tube of unpesos. They're too small for this tube, really. I might have a different tube that would be better suited for them. And you probably recognize this. But yeah, these will go in here and fit almost perfectly. A little loose around the edges, but I don't mind that. And I can close this up. I'd like to get the 1965 because I don't have that one. Now, about this, I just bought a few piece dollars from my coin dealer. As the last ones he had holes in them. They had holes in them. They're 90% silver. They're fine. It's silver. It's no big deal. They're worn, and at this point, they're worse than coal with the hole drilled in them. As long as this ain't cracked on the rim, they will ping like that. Now, I've got this tube of other ones I got from him, and maybe one that was from a different coin dealer. They were all bought right around melt. This tube's starting to fill up, and that's what this one's for. Now, mind you that this one right here is down to about 24 grams because it's worn so much. We'll turn on my scale here and I'll show you what I mean. It has a 50-gram weight. You want it to read 50 grams when that's on there. Now, we'll take that off. And we'll put this Morgan dollar on there, which, look at the back, There's not much left. The front, I thought I could almost make out the top of a 8 and a 7/8, like 1879, 1878. But it's really worn, and in this kind of light, I don't know if you would be able to tell exactly what date it is. I don't think you will be able to. Put it on the scale and see that this thing is down to 24.5 grams roughly. It is probably the most worn Morgan dollar or piece dollar. Well, not piece dollar, but Morgan dollar. Because I have a piece dollar that's every bit worn like this. So it can go in the tube too. Now, how many are in this tube? Well, let's do a quick count. All these were bought around melt. 14 are in it now. It'll hold probably 23, maybe 24 before the lid won't screw down all the way. But that's that. Now let's look at some of this other stuff real quick. This barber quarter with this amount of wear, I think I can make out 1907 on it, but it's worn almost all the way off. And it does appear like there's a mint mark left over there, and it looks like it might be an O. But I thought this might be like 5.2 something. Comes out to 5.4, which is pretty light, pretty worn. But it was that price that melt. Now, these other ones, 5 standing liberties, all dateless, all worn quite a bit. Not worn as much as the barber quarter though. And then you have a Walker, which dateless, worn. There's part of a mint mark still left on it. About half the S. It's down almost 1 complete full gram. But I took that into account when I bought this silver. All these. Because I weighed all the coins and did the math. The first batch I bought, I might have paid 20 or 30 cents over melt for all of them. But they did have these, which, although they're whole, they're still kind of neat. That's an 1853 half dime, which just getting these coins here is kind of amazing in some ways because this thing is so thin. It's a 3-cent star coin. People call them trimes, but these don't weigh very much. The half dime's only 1.09 grams now. This thing, .75 grams. So they're worn quite a bit. The hole takes a little weight too, but not a lot. But the price silver's getting to, though, that's the big question about this. It's bumped all the way up to around 36 bucks. I don't know. I haven't checked to see if it went up a little or down this afternoon after I bought that Morgan dollar and the 3 Walkers that it came with. But it might have went down some. I mean, I think gold did go down some. Hello. But yeah, these got one of every year, these pesos, except for 1965. And from what I understand, 1965 was the lowest mintage of these. They made them from 57 to 67. This is 1966, which this one's not really worn or too much or nothing. Bad thing about it is it's only about 10% silver content. Matter of fact, I think its ASW is pretty similar to United States War nickel, which is what this is. Although it's worn quite a bit. I think I found that one in my change, so that's kind of cool. But maybe one of these days I'll find one of the 65s. You're working on a Dansko album, and you like to hear silver click against each other. Well, even though this is only 10% silver, it does have a bit of a ping to it. Not quite as nice as 90%. But it resonates out for a while. But like I said, not like 90% silver. So I'm on the lookout for those. By the way, if you're going somewhere and buying one, about $2 tops. I wouldn't recommend going any higher than that. They made quite a few of them. I don't have any idea how many of them are still around. They're demonetized, so you can't go and spend them in Mexico. As well, you can't any of the older, because they demonetized all their stuff because the peso with inflation was greatly devalued. And they degraded their money over the years anyway, going from 90%, well, 902.7%. Some 90% coins, 720, 50%, and those 10% ones. And they probably stopped it in 720. They stopped at a few different places with them, and the sizes changed and all kinds of stuff. But the older ones that are 50 centavos that are like from the 40s and earlier, a lot of them are 720 silver all the way back until you get to the ones in the 1890s and early 1900s that are 0.9027% silver. But that is what I wanted to cover. And then the question, silver's reached 36 today. Now, will price manipulation be done in the near future to push that down some? Because this stuff has industrial uses, silver does, and companies that need it don't want to pay that much for it. And so that's probably one reason why silver jumps around so much over the, during the years. If you go back and look at the price, it goes up and down quite a bit. Wasn't that long ago when it fell into about $18 range. Now it's 36, which is kind of crazy. But we'll go to say 28 before it makes it to 40. That's a good question. And I definitely wouldn't want to be buying a whole lot of this at $35 or higher silver price and then have it go back to 28, because this is basically up and down with the melt value. It's really the only play there is with this kind of silver. Now, if you got one of these that is, say, a 1921 that is in pretty good shape, they didn't make a whole lot of them that year, of these. In some of the earlier standing Liberty quarters, the 1917s, 1916, they didn't make hardly any of them that year. And those are pretty valuable, as long as you can read the date, that is. And the back looks a little bit different. Because in this, you can see the 3 stars underneath the eagle. If the 3 stars are missing, then that's a type 1. This is a type 2. As for barbers, they made them from 1892 until 1916. I believe they made quarters in 1916 as well, although certain mints didn't. I mean, the Orleans Mint closed in 1909, and the 1909 Orleans quarter is actually kind of valuable. It's mainly because survivability is pretty low. And besides that fact, these things, a barber coin like this, it takes a long time and a lot of circulation to get it worn out like this. Well, wedding cake, I'm happy that you collect ancient coins too. I do have some ancients. I don't think I have any ancient silver ones, at least not Roman or ancient Greek. But I do have some that are a little more modern, not Roman silver though. I mean, I do have a couple Roman coins, but they're bronze ones. And but that's the thing. Do you think silver is going to go down before it gets to $40, or do you think it'll reach $40? No problem. The way it's went in the last few weeks, it seems like it might. This, I think, is a reasonable exception. To put this in as a tube. I don't know if I would trust it with valuable coins. The plastic it's made out of might have, because it's amber color, might cause toning. But on these, no one's going to care because they're not worth anything, really. They're barely collectible. Like I said, they're only worth at melt maybe $2. But the fact of the matter is this, if it wasn't holed and it wasn't worn quite as much and dented and banged up, half dimes can easily be $20-$30 at coin dealers just because survivability and stuff. And these little 3-cent coins, they did not make very many of them. A few years they did, but some of the other years they didn't. I'm trying to read that date. You can see the 1850. That last digit's kind of hard to make out. It almost looks like a 2, but I don't remember what the years they actually made them were. But it's a really small coin. I mean, it's much smaller than the half dime, and it's thinner even. It may be hard to tell in this, but I believe it's thinner than the half dimes. But I think these, when they first made them, they started about half the weight of a U.S. dime. And these, I think the first year they made them, they were $7.50 silver, and I'm not sure, or 75%. And I don't remember the other years. I mean, if only I had a red book handy, right? I mean, if only, right? So let's go and see if we can't find that real quick, because I don't remember. Half dimes. 1.35 grams on the draped bust. Let's see the newer ones. Seated Liberties. 1.24 grams for the half dime. That one is 1854. I think that said, or 53 if Errol's. What year was that? I don't even remember. Oh, 1853. So we look on here. $18.53 with Errol's. At good for it's a $20 coin, which would be a little bit less wear and tear than that one has. They made 13 million that year, but you can see that mintage dropped off the next couple years. And then not a whole lot in those years. Now let's look for the 3-cent coin. Should be on here somewhere. Gotta remember, the red books are arranged by type, from cents to 2-cent pieces, which we made, and then 3-cent silver pieces, which 750 silver, 1851 to 53. So that might be in 1852 because it looked like it said it. And it tells you how to grade them, but that thing's not even a good 4. But you look at the good 4 ones, those years, all of them around $40, except for the 51, which they made a lot of. But then you look at them later years, they did not make hardly any of them. And even until 1873, they barely made any, and henceforth those particular ones are really expensive. Yeah, it could very well go up, but I wouldn't be surprised if silver would drop. Wedding Cake says, I think it's going to continue to go up for a while. Well, it might, but it could go down first. And we will never know. Because silver value chart over time zigzags up and down a lot. Which a lot of stuff does. You just got to hope that you're not buying too much of when it's zigged way up. Because if it does go down, all this I bought right here, plus the Morgan dollar in this, will be silver I'm underwater on. So in order to sell this batch of silver and make any money out of it, silver would have to go up. Probably have to go up to over $40. And then if someone wanted to buy several grams of it, just for weight, these might be, something that they would be willing to buy at melt. Or maybe even a little under melt. But if silver goes up enough, even under melt, you can make money. Or at least make back what you spent on it. Which, when I bought the Morgan dollar and 3/4, which I bought today, I figured out the melt value by the weight of these coins, and there were 3 of that was one of them, and then 2 of these remaining 3, but I don't really remember which one or which 2, but I figured out the melt value by their grams at $1.04 a gram, the total weight of all the coins together, and come up with $43.50 and change. And my coin dealer accepted $42 for it, so I'm a little over $1.50 under melt on them. Which, when they're worn like that, that's what you want to do. You don't want to buy something like that and pay over. And another thing, if you do go to coin dealers, these Roosevelt dimes that are silver, even in high grade, they usually don't sell for very much. This one isn't, but I got that one out of a Coinstar a couple weeks ago. But, and of course, if you're looking at your change and you look at a bunch of quarters, quickest way to tell is just to look at the rim. You'll notice no red on these because they don't have the copper center. It's a alloy. But you can do the same thing with dimes. 54. Another way to tell is if you ever get one of these Roosevelts and you see it from this side and you see a mint mark on the back, it's silver, because the mint marks has always been on the front of the copper nickel ones, like this one, which is a newer one, 2018 Philadelphia. But if you have several dimes, I don't know how well this will show up. I can see the red on the copper nickel one and the silver. No red on it. So even though it is a bit worn and it's toned up, it shows up pretty well. But I went by Coinstars today and nothing. So anyway, I'm hoping everyone has a good night, because I went on for a while and it's getting a little bit later in the day. And I'm kind of happy to score another Morgan for my tube. Did not think I'd be able to get another one so quick. You know, all these hold ones, the one coin that I had, he's out of them now. He just so happened to have this one today, and it's so worn. I'm like, you can't tell the date really. You could, if it has a mint mark, it's pretty well worn off the coin. It would be down around here somewhere, but a melt coin. That's what it is. You buy it for the melt value of the coin and no more. But I'm hoping everyone has a good night, because I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this down for the night. I did film a few shorts today, but since my Windows computer kind of crashed, it's making it harder to get the videos from my cell phone to my computer, because I had to use Linux and it showed up and it had like red and blue streaks on the video, and I don't know whether it would have looked that way if I uploaded it from there. So I didn't do it that way. I used the phone and uploaded it from the phone to the internet, and then used the internet on my computer to edit the video and set the one live. But I hope y'all have a good night. I don't know if I'll even buy any silver tomorrow. I've bought quite a bit the last few weeks, and it's starting to get to the point where prices tell me it's getting to be too expensive to buy. I'd almost rather be sitting there thinking about taking some to sell to one of my coin dealers maybe, or something. But I freed up this tube for bigger silver I could throw in here. This was American Silver Eagle tube. My coin dealer at the time sold all the Silver Eagles, one or two at a time or whatever it was, and then he had the tube left over. I bought three of them off of him. I want to get the monster box that came in, but no one ever has one for sale at a price I'm willing to pay, because I'm not going to pay $10-something, which is what some people online, some of the bigger dealers that have them for sale sometimes, are willing to sell them for. They're like $10 or more. If someone had one for $3 or $5 maybe, I might think about it, but not 10, 15. But that's pretty much all I got. Have a good night, everyone. See you next time.